Hello and welcome to this English learning session. I hope you are doing great and ready to improve your vocabulary in a powerful and meaningful way. Before we begin, let me ask you a quick question. Have you ever wondered why English has different words like war, battle and combat when all of them seem to mean fighting or conflict? If yes, then by the end of this lecture, you will clearly understand the difference and be able to use them confidently in speaking and writing. Today we are going to explore three very important and powerful words in English vocabulary. War, battle and combat. These words are often used in history, politics, news, movies, military discussions and even in everyday language. They all relate to conflict, struggle and fighting, but each word has a different level of meaning, intensity and usage. Understanding these differences will not only improve your vocabulary but also make your English sound more natural, accurate and impressive. Let us begin with the first and strongest word, war. War is one of the most serious words in the English language. It refers to a large-scale conflict between countries, nations or organized groups. War is not a simple fight or argument. It is a long and organized period of violent struggle involving armies, weapons, strategies and massive consequences. War affects not just soldiers but also civilians, cities, economies and generations. It is destructive, emotional and life-changing. When we hear the word war, we immediately think of destruction, suffering and historical events that shape the world. War can last for years or even decades. It is not a single event but a collection of many battles fought over time. It is the highest level of conflict in human society. In modern English, the word war is also used in a symbolic sense. It does not always mean physical fighting. It can describe a serious effort against a problem. For example, war against poverty, war against corruption, war against drugs, or war against terrorism. In these cases, war means a strong and determined struggle to eliminate something harmful. Now let us deeply understand the usage of war with detailed examples. First example. The two nations were involved in a long and destructive war. This shows a serious conflict between countries lasting for a long time. Second example. War brings pain and destruction to innocent people. This highlights the emotional and human cost of war. Third example. The government has launched a war against illegal activities. Here war is used in a symbolic sense for strict action. Fourth example. Many soldiers sacrifice their lives in war. This shows bravery and sacrifice involved in war. Fifth example. History teaches us that war often brings more problems than solutions. This shows the negative consequences of war. Now let us move to the second word, battle. Battle is more specific and smaller in scale compared to war. A battle is a single fight or engagement between opposing forces. Battles are usually part of a larger war. While war is the entire conflict, battle is one event within that conflict. A battle has a clear beginning and a clear end. It is usually fought in a specific location and time. Battles can be intense, fast or long depending on the situation, but they are always limited compared to war. The word battle is also widely used in everyday English to describe personal struggles. People use it to talk about emotional, physical or mental challenges. For example, a battle with illness, a battle with fear, or a battle for success. This makes the word battle very powerful in both literal and emotional communication. Let us understand the usage of battle through clear examples. First example. The soldiers fought a fierce battle on the border. This shows a direct military fight in a specific place. Second example. The battle continued for several hours without any winner. This shows intensity and duration of fighting. Third example. She is fighting a battle against depression. This shows emotional and mental struggle. Fourth example. The battle for independence was long and difficult. This shows struggle for freedom. Fifth example. Every battle in life teaches us something new. This shows a motivational use of the word battle. Now let us move to the third word, combat. Combat is a more technical and formal word. It refers to direct physical fighting between individuals, soldiers, or forces. It is often used in military, defense, and professional fighting contexts. Combat focuses on action, technique, and direct confrontation. Unlike war and battle, combat is more about the act of fighting itself. It describes what is happening at the moment of conflict. Combat can also be used in a broader sense to describe fighting against problems in society. For example, combat crime, combat disease, or combat pollution. In these cases, it means to actively take steps against something harmful. Now let us understand combat with detailed examples. First example. The soldiers were trained for close combat situations. This shows preparation for direct fighting. Second example. He was injured during combat operations. This shows harm caused during fighting. Third example. The aircraft is designed for air combat missions. This refers to fighting in the sky using aircraft. Fourth example. The police are working hard to combat crime in the city. This shows efforts against crime. Fifth example. Doctors are trying to combat deadly diseases. This shows medical efforts to fight illness. Now that we have understood all three words, let us go deeper and make the difference extremely clear. Think of war as the entire movie. Think of battle as one important scene in that movie. And think of combat as the action happening in that scene. War is the biggest and longest level of conflict. It includes many battles. It involves countries, governments, and large armies. Battle is a single fight within war. It is smaller, more focused, and limited in time and place. Combat is the actual fighting action. It is the physical or direct engagement between opponents. This simple comparison will help you remember their meanings forever. Now let us explore these words in a more interesting and storytelling way so you can fully understand how they are used in real-life language. Imagine a country going through war. The soldiers are moving from one region to another. Each region has a battle. Every battle is fought with courage, strategy, and sacrifice. Inside those battles, there is combat happening. Soldiers are directly engaging with the enemy, fighting face to face or using weapons. This shows how these three words are connected but different. War is the journey. Battle is the destination point. Combat is the action happening at that point. Let us now expand our understanding with more natural usage and real lifestyle sentences. War in advanced usage. First example. War changes the future of entire generations. This shows long-term impact. Second example. Peace is always better than war. This highlights moral understanding. Third example. The effects of war can last for decades. This shows long-term consequences. Fourth example. Countries try to avoid war through diplomacy. This shows peaceful alternatives. Fifth example. War has shaped human history in many ways. This shows historical importance. Battle in advanced usage. First example. The final battle decided the fate of the kingdom. This shows importance of a single fight. Second example. Life is a constant battle between success and failure. This shows symbolic meaning. Third example. They prepared carefully for the upcoming battle. This shows planning and strategy. Fourth example. He lost the battle but never gave up. This shows motivation and learning. Fifth example. Every battle requires courage and determination. This shows personal qualities. Combat in advanced usage. First example. Combat training requires discipline and focus. This shows preparation. Second example. Modern soldiers use advanced tools in combat. This shows technology use. Third example. Special forces are experts in combat skills. This shows expertise. Fourth example. We must combat social issues like corruption. This shows problem solving. Fifth example. The body naturally tries to combat infections. This shows biological response. Now let us quickly revise everything in a very simple and memorable way. War is the biggest form of conflict between nations or large groups and includes many battles. Battle is a single fight or engagement within a war. Combat is the direct act of fighting or confrontation. If you understand this difference, your English vocabulary becomes much stronger and more professional. Before we end, remember this important idea. Words like war, battle and combat are not only vocabulary items. They are powerful expressions of human struggle, history, courage and survival. They appear in news, books, movies and real-life situations. So learning them properly helps you understand the world better. Now let us end this lecture with a quick summary thought. When you hear war, think of large-scale destruction and long-term conflict. When you hear battle, think of a specific fight or struggle within a bigger conflict. When you hear combat, think of direct action, fighting and resistance. With this understanding, you are now able to use these words correctly and confidently in your English communication. Thank you for watching and learning with me. I hope this lesson helped you improve your vocabulary in a meaningful way. If you enjoyed this lecture, keep practicing, keep learning and keep improving your English every day. See you in the next lesson.